G'day and welcome, my name's Cautious Pancake, and today I want to have a look at a new glitch elevator for 1.1. I'm certainly not the one that found this first. From the research I've done, I think the first to post it was Skippy0330, so I've put a link to his video in the description below. Go watch his video after this one to see how we built the original version, but never fear that I'm just going to rehash what's already been shown. I've got some updates to add as well. To summarise the glitch that Skippy came up with, walk up to an open cellar door, placed in front of a column of pillar 0.5 meter blocks, line yourself up with the middle of the pillar while facing away, close the door, and walk backward into the pillar. And if you got it lined up just right, you'll glitch up through the pillar to the top. If you didn't get it just right, usually nothing bad happens, and you'll either get kicked off to the side, or just nothing happens, and most of the time you can then just open the cellar door again, or walk around until you pop out. But in the interest of full transparency, I've had a couple of very rare instances when testing that I did get fully stuck, and you'll have to quit and reload to get free, or use God mode if you're playing creative. So that's just something to keep in mind. The other cool features he demonstrated was the fact that it can go through street level. So if you want to block off the entrance to your mining pit, then you can use this to get yourself back up and through to ground level or further above, like a reverse fireman's pole. Now for those of you who have seen my channel before, you know I can't just show that and leave it there. We obviously need to have some fun with things and see if it can be pushed even further. So while the cellar door is good, it's a little weird looking, and when I first started to play with this approach, I thought it wasn't working that well, as I couldn't repeatedly get the glitch to work, which in hindsight might have just been my lack of consistency with the placement and positioning rather than the cellar door itself. But regardless, it made me wonder if it was just the cellar door that made this glitch work. Additionally, I was wondering if there was any difference to the blocks around it and whether that helps or hinders the approach. So I went ahead and built a couple of testing instances to see what I could find. The testing platforms are designed to test three things: if the pillar 0.5 meter block can be replaced with any other blocks, or if it's just that one that works, if the cellar door is the only one that can trigger the glitch, and if the blocks around the outside matter. For testing the first item, I've added a lot of different, mostly centered type blocks to each of these templates to see if they could make a difference. For the second, I've got some alternate doors to try, specifically the 3x3 garage door, 3x3 roll-up door, some plain wooden single and double doors, and the same again for steel. And for the last test on the blocks, I've got a few different layouts that look interesting, that vary the distances between the glitch column and the outside to see if that forces you into a different spot that helps the glitch happen or not. And without boring you with the hours of testing, here's what I've learned. Firstly, positioning is key, and it can be very difficult to get right consistently, and that sometimes, even for one that you know works, it'll go through a phase where it just doesn't seem to work. So the glitch can be a little hit and miss, even after a bunch of practice. There are a few setups that are very close to working, in particular on the steel doors and double doors. It feels like they're going to almost work all the time, but just never quite do. There are a couple of others though that do work, like the 3x3 garage door with the pillar 0.375 meter block, but it can also be a bit hit and miss, just like the cellar door. And lastly, there is one combination that is far and away better than everything else I tried. That's the same pillar 0.5 meter block, but with a wooden double door. This one was the most consistent and very easy to trigger, much easier than the cellar door, in particular because you can position facing forwards rather than facing away from the block. And as well, the quick animation of the doors means that if you don't get it right the first time, you can easily reset and try again. Your mileage may vary, but that was certainly the best one for me. So there's a couple of alternate and unique glitch elevators that I've found for going upwards in an elevator that you can try if you want to. But let's be honest, both are just variations on the original idea, so I wouldn't have found these without the original concept to work from. Now before we move on too far, one thing that you might be wondering is if there's any benefit to this approach of the elevator glitch over a ladder. To test that, I've set up these 50 block high tests, one ladder and one glitch elevator, to put them head to head. Running them at the same time, you can see that the glitch elevator makes it to the top after about 10 seconds, and the ladder takes about 15. So there's definitely a speed advantage to the glitch elevator, which additionally doesn't burn your stamina to get to the top. Moving on from the upwards elevator to something that I haven't seen anyone else do, and that's a downwards elevator. To try and build this, one of the things that I wanted to try was to use the drawbridge. It's one of the few doors in 7 Days that exists as a solid object as it's in the middle of closing. Most other doors only exist physically in the world while they're in their closed or open states. While they're transitioning, they don't actually exist. So the idea with the drawbridge was to set them up above each of the testing instances and try pushing myself back down through the blocks. After testing a bunch of this, the outcome is pretty much, in all cases, nothing happens. Where the block is too solid, you glitch through the drawbridge rather than the block, so that doesn't help. And if the block is too small in the center of the pillar, or the surrounding blocks are just too far away, you just fall down through the open space. However, there is one case that I found that's the closest to getting things working, which I initially thought was exactly what was needed, but after a bit more testing, I've realized it's kind of pointless. Anyway, to show you what I mean, it's this combination with the 0.05 meter pillar centered block, starting one block below the top, and the cube trim quarter edge round on the midpoints. This creates a structure where you can drop in, stand on the pillar, and not fall down despite where you try and stand. Then after pulling the drawbridge down on yourself, it'll squish you down and you can ride the elevator down to the bottom. That obviously did a little bit of damage, so we can drop in a hay bale there as well. And you can see that repeating the test means that we don't take fall damage anymore. However, what I realized was that since we're talking about fall damage, that this is effectively just me dropping down to the ground rather than glitching through and doing an actual elevator. And in fact, when we come back up to the top and add in another pillar on top, all of a sudden we can just fall down to the bottom. So this really isn't an elevator at all, just kind of a little trick to stop you falling initially, but then push you down and fall down to the ground. Oh, and if you're going to use this, make sure you drop on the outside, otherwise you get stuck when you get to the bottom. Another test I did was to see if there's any movement keys that would make it possible to glitch down from the top of an elevator, and I've not been able to find anything here either. While you can still glitch in from the top, any movement key pops you up to the top and out just like normal, and crouching doesn't make you move. Let me know if you think I'm missing anything here, as it would be awesome to combine the double doors here at the top with the ability to elevator back down again. I'd really like to see if we could make that work somehow, but I'm out of ideas. The other thing I realized from doing this setup at the top of the ladder is that it's possible to set up 4 double doors around the pillar like this, which means that you can glitch in from any direction. Putting that on our 50 block high tester from before, it means we can walk up from any direction and glitch straight in, which I think is a nifty little addition as well. You might still need to ladder down again, unless you go hay bales instead. Maybe consider investing in some parkour as well if you're doing that though. Oh, and one last thought, since the glitch elevator is perfect for going up, and my previous water elevator trick is perfect for falling down, there could be 2 things that you put together for quicker access up and down your base. I'll put a link to that video up on the screen shortly if you're interested on how the water elevator works and how to build it. It's still the same in 1.1. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please leave a like if you did, and consider subscribing if you'd like to see more videos like this one. Thanks to my awesome supporters on Patreon, thanks to you for watching this video, and happy glitching.